PS5 might have been a slight overkill. However, if a brand claims that this power brick can power up all your essentials, I really wanted to put this to a test. And it did pretty well. I mean, at full blast, it was showing, I think, 3.8 hours with a 4K 27-inch screen and PlayStation 5 going on full blast, playing Cyberpunk. I think that's a good score. However, this might be slightly beside the point because you're probably thinking, like, how am I going to lug this with me when camping? Well, the answer is you can't. It is a heavy brick. It's heavy because, my God, it's got a big ass battery inside. So if you're thinking you can take this for a hike to power up stuff in your tent, that's not gonna work. And that's not a dig at Voteman, I can't pronounce that brand name. It's not a dig on the company. It is what it is. Those batteries are always heavy. And if you want that much more power, you can't really go wild camping with this. Where it shines through though, is when you need that extra supply of power. If you've got a van or if you're camping at a campsite, you don't want to pay for electric hookup. Typically, you don't get hookups to the tents anyway, I think. I don't do tents. Honestly, I've got allergy to tents. I always camp in my van. But it gives you so much power. You can pretty much survive more than a weekend on this, supplying power to pretty much everything you've got. If you've got a van already, then probably you've got some batteries on board anyway. If these are wet batteries, which is your standard lead acid stuff, that means you can't really discharge them below 50% because you're going to screw them up. And also, you need a good inverter. Now, if you're looking on Amazon and going like, but these inverters are like 30 bucks. They are, the cheap ones, and the ones that don't provide you with pure sine power. Simplifying things, if you use a non-pure sine inverter, it will absolutely screw the shit out of all your other devices. If you're charging any batteries through that, just don't. So what you need, in addition to your whole battery pack in your van, is a really good inverter. Good inverter sets you back maybe 200 bucks. This power station has everything built in. So all you really have to do is switch it on and just start charging. Like with every inverter, if it's rated at 1000 watts, you typically get peak power at 2000. So what I've noticed with this one is it doesn't allow to peak at all. It feels like it's limiting power to just above 1000 watts, which on one hand is really good because it's protecting the whole battery pack. But also that means if you've got devices that need that peak power to start up, that's just not going to happen. To be fair, unless you're using like a massive hairdryer, that won't really be necessary. When it comes to connectivity, this thing has everything you really need. You've got 3 AC ports. These plugs are UK, obviously. If you're buying this if in the EU, you're going to get European plugs. If you get it in the US version, you'll get the US plugs. You're also getting 4 USB-A ports, 1 with fast charging and 2 USB-C. What really surprised me with this power station is that it has jump cables attachment. Problem is, there's no jump cables included. I didn't have a chance to test it before leaving for holidays, so I'm kind of assuming it does work. If it won't, I'll pop a comment and pin it to the top. I've seen some complaints about the brightness of the display. I can't really fault that unless you're literally have it facing some really strong light. It's pretty easy to read. It gives you all the essentials, the amount of time you've got left before the battery pack dies, but also amount of power you're pulling or putting in. Speaking of charging, you can charge up this whole power station within an hour. Now, I wouldn't recommend discharging it to nothing. Keep that 5% going just in case. But otherwise, all you really need is a friendly Starbucks. We can rock up, get some coffee, charge up, and hit the road again within an hour. That's pretty surprising. If you've been camping for a while, if you had lead batteries, you know it takes forever to get them trickle charged. It is a massive pain in the ass. If you've upgraded to LiPos in your van, then probably you don't need power station like that. But on the other hand, I don't think I've ever were in a situation where I felt like, shit, I've got way too much power with me. I've always got this, what I guess electric car drivers call range anxiety, thinking, maybe I should preserve these batteries if I really need to charge something down the road. And I do take a lot of battery power out of my batteries all the time. Between all my cameras, my electric skateboards, and everything else that's running in this van, I always welcome some extra power. Another good thing about this particular power station is that it supports pass-through charging, which means you can charge up the station and devices simultaneously. There's a tiny little storage box on the top just to keep your cables. I only keep my charging cable in that thing. I mean, if you're traveling anyway, you probably got everything else sorted in your van. I just want to keep it together because typically things go AWOL inside of my bus. And if you're stuck for light, there's a built-in light in the back of it. It's not much use to me, but I guess it comes handy when you're camping and you kind of left it till late in the night and you just need to pick up all the stuff from the ground. It's pretty awesome. It's got a strobe function. And the SOS that I'm guessing 99.9% of people will never know what it is. It's just going to look like you're blinking on them. There are some spots where you shouldn't be flashing lights at people. Typically, when brands reach out with their products, asking me to review them on the channel, I'm always a little bit apprehensive because I really don't want to offend anyone if I don't like the product. I always say, you know what, if it's not fitting my needs, I will just send it back. I'm not going to slug it off. Because essentially, I'm doing this for fun. I do like talking to the camera. I like making movies. And I do enjoy gadgets that actually enhance my life experience, you might say. I like traveling a lot. I'm in my van a lot. I surf and do other things all the time. And having extra power, I was like, yeah, well, let's give it a go. What can go wrong with a battery bank? The only slight criticism I might have is that it can get a little bit loud when you're pulling the full power. But then my 2000 watt inverter in my van gets really loud as well when I'm overloading it. I think it's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, that thing works exactly how I would expect it to work. If you're in need for extra power, the V2MAN is actually a pretty good choice. I'll drop a link below for a little discount for you. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. That's all from me. We're in beautiful Spain today, and I'm really itching to go kite surfing, so catch you guys later.